1. What's up? It's MopedJet. I'm back with more moped and jetting. Here I'm going to talk to you about some stuff. What stuff? Gotta stay tuned to find out. I went to the Ozarks. Did I talk about that already, my vacation? Even if I did, I'm going to say it again. You know why? Because my memory is literally nothing. I think I'm going to be the first person to have dementia at 32 at this rate. I'm going for the world record, baby. But yeah, I went to Lake of the Ozarks for the first time in my life at 29 because I'm African American. And I think the reason for that is because when I imagine the Lake of the Ozarks, other than the show, every time I heard the phrase Lake of the Ozarks, the lake word stuck its neck out too far and always threw me off. Because I'm like, why? Why go to a lake? You know, it's not quite a beach. It's too big to be a pool, but not quite a beach. So my thing is, a pool is much smaller and more private and cleaner. And the beach, I'm like, well, of course that's public. It's the ocean. You can't necessarily privatize the ocean. But I was pleasantly surprised about Lake of the Ozarks. It was beautiful. I see why people go there, retire there. One of my friends who actually, ironically enough, is going to start doing comedy. I don't know if it means he's finally hit rock bottom or not, but he's going to start doing comedy after this trip. So I'm not going to, he's going to be absolutely famous after one set. But he is making a set based off of something that happened on this trip. I might get into that, but I'm going to talk about me, not about him. Something did happen on this trip, but me, I was a neutral third party to everything. So I had a great time at Lake of the Ozarks. I can't say that for the people I was with. There's definitely some hiccups for people, but me, staying middle of the line Josh, I was good. But I did have one problem. Oh, I actually had two problems. None with the people I was with. They had problems with each other. But the two people I was with, the two problems I had was with none of the people I was with. Okay, maybe one person, but I'll bring that up briefly after this. When we were docking or loading onto our deck, I don't know ship talk. We were getting on the boat, and we had to walk on a wooden structure first to get on that boat. I guess that's called a dock. And so while we were on the dock, I was carrying the drinks and snacks and stuff in our cooler, and there was a guy working on his boat. Just close your eyes and think of a guy working on the boat, and you're probably right, the description you come up with for this guy. If you thought white, you're definitely on track. So this guy, I don't necessarily know what's going on because I'm day drunk. And so one of my friends, Ashley, we'll go with, she is approached by the man with the boat. And he's all like, oh, yo, you got to be careful. You got to watch out for that cooler. This is what I come to find he's saying. You got to watch out for that cooler that it doesn't hit my boat and doesn't damage my boat. And so that becomes a huge thing. This shouldn't be, but it is. It becomes one. And the guy kept going, I don't know. Like, my boat is very expensive. Like, she's a beaut. She's a darling. She's not your wife. She also doesn't have nerve endings. She can take a ding without being offended. But here we are as good adults, good responsible adults that were raised right. When someone asks us to be considerate of their space, we're considerate. So here we go. We are now surgically lifting up this cooler to make sure it's not hitting his thing. And he's sitting there watching us with almost like his mental ruler. And as we're going over it, he's gritting his teeth and going, But everything's fine, of course. Now, what do I want? I want a fucking apology because he was acting goddamn ridiculous for a 60-year-old. He was acting like we were the 60-year-olds trying to do young shit. Pretty much. We're young. We got this. Like, my brain is fucked, but my body is pretty good. It's still around. So I And I'm on vacation. And one thing I know about vacation, Josh, he's himself. He's his true self. He fucks societal norms. I'm visiting this place. I can let my dick hang a little bit. So I tell the guy, like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was going to play Operation today. And he ignores me. He ignores everything I say. But as we're sitting down, I'm just like, oh, wow, that was tough. I didn't know there was an atomic bomb on the deck. Saying it just loud enough for him to hear it. But then this is what gets me. He's not talking to me. He's talking to our guy who's going to be the tour guide of our boat trip. He comes up to the dude like, yeah, I don't know how long you guys going to be here. And then he's just like, oh, we're about to pull off. We literally just need a place to pick them up, and then we're going to pull off. And he goes, oh, yeah, because that's usually Greg's spot. Yeah, Greg. That's Greg's. And then I say, oh, well, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg, for not giving a shit. In my head. I didn't say that. That'd be too confrontational. But he just kept going like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Greg's going to be cool with this. But this is what I do say to him. I'm like, is Greg around? He's just like, his boat isn't there, so... I'm like, is Greg around, like, right now? Like, within 5 feet of us? No. Then who gives a flying fuck where we dock at and where we dock off, you know? I didn't say that part, but I wanted to. But I just wanted him to, after I laid those cookies in his brain, hopefully the mice in his brain start running on the wheel. That metaphor was much better in my head, but shut the hell up. It worked. It worked. You're too stupid to get it. That's the problem with that. You're dumb. Not me. You're dumb. And so, yeah, so pretty much Greg wasn't there, but he was acting like Greg was his boss or had the key to his ball sack or something, because he was just like, oh, Greg. Even his daughter that was with him got into it. Yeah, I know where Greg is. I don't know if Greg's gonna like this. And then okay, so the boating guy, he's a tour guide, so he has to give us his spiel. And they're saying this, they actually, in the middle of a spiel, call him over to tell him this. And that's why I got rude, because I'm like, bro, you're stopping our fun, and you're increasing the chances we run into Greg. We could be gone. But you're sitting here keeping us here to complain about the possibility of Greg coming down or coming back from his boating or whatever. You know, and guess what would happen if he did? He would just wait. So, oops. Ooh. End of the world time, you gotta wait. Like most of the time for most of the things. Man, that remembering it is re-pissing me off, because I hate people that stick their nose into something that does not need to be stuck into. And I hate people that treat their shit like it's the most precious metal, like whatever they have. You know what I'm talking about. We all have a friend that, like, they'll get a new... Actually, I have a fucking story about this. My friend fucking Mark. I'm only gonna say him by name because I don't care, and he knows how he is. Mark is a rich kid, but he's a rich kid that's a selfish rich kid, and it's fine. It's cool. But he will never let you borrow anything. And this one time, this kid had a Windows Surface when they just came out. Me, I am a huge fan of Windows tech. I hate Apple, and he loved Apple. He's a rich kid. So when I saw him with the Surface, I'm like, motherfucker, what are you doing with that Surface? You don't even know, like, you're Team Apple. And then he's all like, oh, it's pretty cool, bro. I'm like, all right, let me get a few taps in. Let me get a few taps. I just wanted to play a game he was playing. This motherfucker goes, no, bro, don't you get your own? Oh, yeah, let me go get my own $400. Anyway, I hate motherfuckers that do that. So I was kind of embellishing a little bit, but I was like, no, I'm not going to let this guy mess me up. I'm definitely not going to let Greg mess me up because he's not even here. So we finally dock off. It's beautiful, instantly beautiful. The water is shimmering. The waves are trying to say hi. They're trying to high five you, honestly. That's how high they're going. And the boating guy, so we're on a pontoon style boat. I don't know what that means, but people who know boats will now have a mental image. And there's basically a chair there's like a swivel 360, well, I guess 180 chair right across from the driver's seat, right? I picked that chair because I like my space. And I also liked how it was in the middle of the boat, so I could talk to the front end of the boat and talk to the back end of the boat. At least I thought. I underestimated how loud boats are. But this was my plan, choosing the seat. This guy sits directly across from me, and he gives his little spiel. And as we're like docking off, I'm just like, wow, it's beautiful. And he's like, yeah, it's your first time in the Ozarks. It's, simple conversation. Introductory, preliminary conversation. Cool. Now I'm in the mode. We did our highs or we did our hellos, welcomes, little bios to each other. Now you would think as a driver you want to just focus on driving and let your passengers enjoy the ride, right? No, this guy proceeded to turn to me and tell me about every single thing we were passing. Me only. He didn't go, hey guys, this is this is that. He was just like, and he would tap my shoulder, dude. He would tap my shoulder when I was just like watching. I was in the vibe, dude. I was high. I was drunk. I was trying to just enjoy the atmosphere. Not a usual experience. Don't know when I'm going to get it again. This guy clearly boats. He's going to get this pretty soon. Probably doing it right now, And so he's tapping on my shoulder and throwing off my vibe to tell me something I can't even hear because the boat is so loud. The boat is incredibly loud, and he would go, it would pretty much sound like this. In 1992, back in the Katie Camp School, when they didn't get the phone. And he just keeps looking like, for the video podcast, folks. When I wasn't saying anything. So I was like, oh, cool. Then it just kept going. And I realized he's not going to stop. I got to put a stop to this. I have the power. So it was the last straw was when I started doing my thing. Because with me, this isn't the first time this happened. I have this terrible superpower of magnetism. Only social magnetism, not even the cool type. Where people think, oh, that guy wants to talk. Even if he doesn't respond, I'll keep talking to him. I don't know what it is. Men, women of all ages, races, size, creeds, religious beliefs, they all come up to me and they just talk. And I'm such a stupid mother. I was raised so well that I just smile and nod my head and I come up with a witty response because I like to be cordial, and I'm assuming that eventually this is going to end. But with some people, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. And so I have to now find an exit strategy. And in this time, with my exit strategy this time, luckily, someone asked me, since I was next to the cooler, for a drink or a beer. And so I kind of like act like I didn't hear them. And so they were like, can you give me a beer? I was like, what? And I kept leaning in. And I was like, hold on, I'll just go back there. And I went back there, And I never came back, dude. And another thing that pisses me off about magnetism is that they're not even that person, They're not even that talker, I come to find. Because when I finally escape them, they just talk. They just don't talk. They don't do it. Like multiple parties kept sitting in that boat, kept saying how dope the seat was. And he would just go like, yeah, that's the passenger pontoon boat at most. And then would just drive. Like before I left, he tried to get my attention, and usually my first strategy is to stop talking, stop responding, and stop looking. It's rude, but it gives them the nonverbal cues of, hey, that's the nonverbal shut up. I think that's the pretty closest thing to a nonverbal shut up, other than going in their face and going, stop. So that wasn't working because we went by, apparently Patrick Mahomes is going to live next to the Ozarks or build a house on the lake of the Ozarks for his family and his mom. And then I heard him, but I was doing my strategy of ignoring him. And he goes, And then he knows I'm ignoring him. I can see in my corner of my eye because I have good peripheral vision because I play games, Call of Duty. And that wasn't good enough for him. So he stops the boat and he stands up and makes an announcement. Clearly, we can hear him now, so I won't do the muffled thing. And he goes, "You guys, up there, that's Patrick Mahomes' house. His family's going to move in, and his mom's going to have a vision of all the Lake of the Ozarks." And that's when I was like, oh, he's just going to keep doing it. And if I ignore him, he's going to do that, ruining everyone's trip. So it was actually, I'm actually a hero now I think about it. My superpowers can be dangerous, and it's my responsibility to make sure no one gets hurt. Wow. I'm just realizing I'm fucking unique. Wow. So yeah, that's pretty much the thing on Lake of the Ozarks. There's some. Oh, the one thing that I was gonna mention. Not gonna mention my friend's stuff in case if he wants to do it, turn it into a bit. And I don't want to be joke stealing, yada yada yada. Maybe in the next episode because we are running almost the time. I'll get into that part. You gotta let me know though. But there was one thing I had a slight problem with, but it really didn't. It wasn't a problem. If you don't understand how I joke, this is just like, this is me trying to tone it down. This is me trying to curve my raw comedic sense into something more consumable for the average listener. But what I really love is randomness, a little bit of insulting here and there. So pretty much during the carrying of the cases, my friend who's going to do comedy and a friend I met, I think he's Hispanic. I don't know. It only matters because of what I'm about to say soon. They were carrying the case originally, and then they kind of stopped. If you ask my friend Don, who's the other black guy, pretty soon. They stopped pretty soon. They barely take it out of the hotel room, and they're already talking about tired, and they talked about, we'll switch off. That never happened, but me and my friend Don are carrying it. We're making jokes between ourselves of the variety that I described earlier. And I say stuff like, oh, well, of course they're just going to drop it and leave the black guys to carry it. And they're like, oh, why are we carrying it when we have manual labor right behind us? You know, making jokes like that. And if you're black, you get those jokes. And if you're white, you're being fake offended right now. And so we're carrying it, and the Hispanic guy's girlfriend, who's white, or I guess wife, is white and is ahead of us. And she was my friend before I met him. Like, this is my first time meeting him. And she was like a friend that I met through Ashley, a friend of friend, whatever. And so, like, she's just a couple of steps ahead of us. And I'm making another joke. I decided to get one big one in because I knew it would make Don laugh a lot. And I was like, yeah, we got this. We strong, man. We carrying it. That's what happens when you go outside. You get that sunlight coursing through your bones and your muscles. It makes you strong, be able to lift things for long periods of time. We're not like those motherfuckers just stay inside jacking off all day while watching anime, Just fucking nerds. And obviously, it's a joke between us, too. The girl in front of us, she turns around and goes, Josh, I heard that. And I'm like, oh, well, you would know that. Am I having too much fun for you? She's like, no, you're not having too much fun, but wow. And that's not what bothered me. It was later that night, I heard her talking to dude saying, and then he said that you guys were nothing but jacking off nerds. Jacking off at the house, looking ass nerds. Okay, bro. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. I obviously didn't mean it, Now I look like a douchebag to someone I just met. But who cares? He's a staying at home, jacking off, watching anime-ass nerd anyway, so who cares about his opinion? This was MopedJet. Hope you had a good time. I actually had a really good time with this one. 20 minutes just flew by. Got an open mic tonight. Hopefully it goes well. If it doesn't, this went well, so that's a win for me. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you eat your vegetables, drink your water, and say hi to your mom.